I'm Kent Molgat. This is KelownaNow, and I'm joined by Pam Neese
Yep.
with Pam Neese Sleep.
Correct.
You've made a business out of helping people get their toddlers to sleep, right?
Actually, it's from birth up to age 10.
Right from birth.
Right from birth all the way up to age 10, I help families right across the globe.
So,
It's my passion and my purpose.
from all you have learned in this field, let's come up with some things that people can do to sort of set a pattern so that they've got kids that sleep easily. So what are some things that people who have babies or little kids, what can they do to make going to bed easier and more efficient?
Thanks, Kent. And it's an epidemic right now. Like, the lack of sleep in today's society is alarming. And I went to a pediatric sleep medicine conference in November in Florida. I was invited down there by a neurologist from NIH. And the statistics are crazy. Like, kids are suffering from lack of sleep, starting right from birth all the way into teenage years. So I'm glad that you invited me here today.
So what's going on with infants? I mean, isn't sleep just such a natural thing? Why would infants not be sleeping?
Exactly. Well, that's what perplexed me 11 years ago. I'm like, why isn't this coming naturally? Luckily for me, breastfeeding came naturally. Max took to that easily, but for many women, they struggle with that. And so that's the first vital life skill a child needs to learn, is how to gain nourishment either from the breast or the bottle. And then the next vital life skill every child on this planet needs to learn is how to go from an awake state to a sleep state. And it's complicated. You think it would come naturally. You think it would just be a biological need, because if you don't sleep, you die.
Right. Okay.
If you don't eat,
but
you
hang
die.
on, time out here. I had two kids, okay?
Yeah.
They naturally fall asleep. They obviously know how, at least sometimes.
Right.
So what you're saying is they need to learn ways so that they can fall asleep when they really need to, and it's not.
Yeah, and on their own. Like, there's a World Sleep Society that was created, and there's a declaration saying that children must learn this vital life skill and learn how to sleep independently. And I wholeheartedly agree, because if you as a parent knew that you could reduce the risk of diabetes, you could reduce the risk of colic or reflux or GERD, if you knew you could reduce the risk of an unhappy baby or your child being misdiagnosed with ADHD or learning disabilities or having issues in school or not performing well in sports, and then later on in life, if you knew you could reduce the risk of your child getting addicted to alcohol and drugs, wouldn't you do it?
These are all things that better sleep can avoid.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what are some things you can do to set your child up for success in learning to fall asleep?
Okay, well, to start with, it's never too early and it's never too late. So if you're watching this and your child is 14 years old, it is not too late to give them this vital life skill, okay? So one of the first things to realize is that you have to learn. You have to learn how to do this on your own. And it's not natural. Like, for some kids it is natural and it comes easily, but for others they need some help in order to learn this vital life skill. And that's where I come in. So one of the first things to realize is that when you've got an infant, the better they sleep during the day, the better they're going to sleep at night. It's not logical, but it's biological. The more they sleep during the day, the better at night. So a lot of the grandparents over the 8 years that I've been working with families right across the globe full time, a lot of the grandparents are like, what are you doing putting that kid down for sleep?
Right.
They're not tired.
Don't let them nap or they won't sleep at night.
Exactly.
But you're saying that's a mistake.
That's a mistake. So, number one, the more sleep your child gets during the day as an infant, the better they're going to sleep by night. And that doesn't change until minimum age 2. Okay, now having said that, if your child is always sleeping, never eating, never playing, always lethargic, yes, that is a sign of illness, and I want you rushing out to your doctor and getting that checked out.
Right.
But if your infant is rocking out a 2-hour nap one day, you just let them sleep and celebrate, because you've got a better night ahead of you.
Right. So what does bedtime look like for a family with a toddler that is got good patterns and good sleep skills. What is
Oh, I love that. And I love how you're using the word sleep skills. And one of the things that makes me unique in the marketplace is I like making sleep fun. Because
Okay.
my philosophy is that if you make sleep fun, even for a 6-month-old baby with a whole bunch of little tickles and zerberts and raspberries, that little 6-month-old is going to learn to love sleep and then honor their sleep
Right.
as a teenager or an adult.
But what is
And
it?
so with the toddlers, what I love doing with the toddlers, it's not to wind them down or burn out their energy or anything like that, Kent. It's more about having fun. So quite often with toddlers, I've got chase me games, dance parties, wrestling matches, all sorts of fun stuff as part of their 30-minute bedtime routine. And so whether you have a newborn or whether you have a 10-year-old, I want you to think of your bedtime routine, which is my top tip, as an investment. So you're investing 20, 30, maybe 45 minutes in your child, and then your payoff is 10 to 12 hours of great sleep. And so now that my kids are 11 and 9, I'm not investing a half an hour in them anymore. But, you know, as babies and toddlers and young children, I did. And
Right.
it becomes these, one client said to me, oh my gosh, you're creating these amazing happy memories for our family with these bedtime rituals.
So, okay, rituals, routine. So I
So
take
key.
it, what I'm getting from you is that you need to go through whatever, and it wouldn't always have to be the same for every family, but
Correct.
to do a series of things that start to sort of tell the little kid that we're heading towards sleep time.
Exactly,
So
and
it
I
could be
don't
quite
like
active.
doing
It could
that.
be quite active.
It could. I don't want you just going out there, parents, and trying this without professional help. But it could be really fun and engaging, right? It's counterintuitive from the calming, soothing experience that you read everywhere, and what other sleep consultants do. Okay, but so for a typical toddler, I'm working with 2 2-year-olds right now. So fun. And so we start off with a bath because, man, oh man, 2-year-olds get messy. They're full of stuff, right? So,
Yeah.
and most 2-year-olds love to have a bath. So then after the bath, with one particular girl, they're chasing her to the bedroom naked, and she's absolutely squealing in delight because I don't know any 2-year-old. Like, think back to your boys, right?
Yeah.
I don't know any 2-year-old that doesn't love to be chased. So then we're getting her in the bedroom, and they're having like this rousing drying match and all that kind of stuff. And she's not fully toilet independent at this point, so they're getting on the diaper and the pajamas, and then they're getting on her sleep sack, which is like this giant sleeping bag for a 2-year-old, which I still recommend for 2-year-olds. And then they sit down and they read a couple stories because, oh my gosh, what kid doesn't like stories? And this is a really great investment, parents, for the long term. You're going to create
Right.
lovers of books and readers. And then
okay.
after that, you know the song that your kids used to demand?
Yes.
Kent was telling me before
Yeah.
our interview.
That's-
Then what
sing
they're
a
doing
lullaby.
with Victoria is they're, instead of just doing like this calming little, you know,
Yeah.
lullaby, they're taking this 2-year-old and they're spinning her around and dancing and singing, and then plopping her in the crib with her new little best friend, this little stuffed animal.
Yes.
And then she falls asleep laughing.
Right.
Like,
So-
who would want that for
And
their child?
So it becomes a ritual. It's the same every
You
night.
have to
and
do
that-
it. And I like to create a ritual that is portable so that people can do it at the hotel, they can do it at grandma's house, they can do it at the
Okay.
campground, you know, wherever you
This
might
is the
be.
one, but I'm taking a sort of a bit of a dichotomy out of this, in that you're talking about getting kids to fall asleep independently,
Correct.
and yet you've built the parents a responsibility into this.
Absolutely.
So it's in a way not independent.
Yeah, but it's only 30 friggin' minutes. Can't you afford 30 minutes
Sure.
for 10 to 12
Sure, but like I
hours of great
said,
sleep?
even
Yeah.
when my kids were getting to an age when, you know, it seemed a little odd, we'd have to like vacate ourselves from whatever we were doing.
Well, and in a case like yours, I'd be encouraging the whole entourage in there to be making it a party. So
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like you're being taken out of the situation, right?
Right, so, but, so.
And I don't expect parents to do it until they're 9 or 11, but a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, can't you afford a half an
Right.
hour for those kids? Really?
And it's not just helping with sleep. They're learning to appreciate books as well, and it's
And it's bonding and
nice
connection.
time. It
It's
is nice
bonding
time.
and connection. In today's society, we're filled with so much friggin' guilt. We're working
Right.
so friggin' hard. Sorry, I'm using
Okay.
my
No,
F, but not the other F.
It's totally
But
friggin' okay.
Okay, good.
But-
because we're filled with all this guilt. I don't spend enough time with my children. I work too hard. You know, I need to. And then we have this pressure of keeping them up late because we want to have some connection time.
Right.
So here's a great way to have some connection time, as well as create healthy habits for a lifetime.
Okay, we don't have a whole lot more time here, but what are some things not to do? What are the things that are happening that are interfering with sleep that we need to cut out of the picture?
Oh, well, this is why I'm trying to create these healthy habits as infants and toddlers and preschoolers, because, oh my gosh, the pressure of the cell phones and the gadgets, it's huge. And this is what the Pediatric Sleep Medicine Conference was talking about. Like, these poor teenagers, they're suffering from lack of sleep, and it's causing a crisis.
And you put a lot of the blame at their smartphone?
Absolutely, and the iPads. Like, I was invited into one of the local private schools, and before I did my talk, I interviewed all the teachers, and they were saying that all these kids are sneaking out of their bedrooms, grabbing their electronics because they can't fall asleep. And then those things are so addictive, they're just dopamine, dopamine, dopamine. These kids don't fall asleep, and then they come to school, and these parents are paying thousands of dollars to get them to private school, but all they need is good sleep, and they would excel.
Right, so it would come at great cost to take the thing out of a kid's hand, but it's worth it, you're saying? They should not have that in their bedroom?
Absolutely, there should be no electronics, and it's not just me who says this. I'm going based on the individuals that have done research. Like, one of my heroes is Dr. Ruth Gruber.
But what if the parent says, my kid will be so angry with me if I take that away from them that it can't be worth it?
Well, then they call me and I'll give them tools and strategies to deal with that.
Okay.
Right? I wish I could give you a quick fix on
Well,
that one,
no.
but I can't,
No, but-
right? Because I need to know more about
Right,
the
but no,
situation. But it is a crisis.
Yeah.
It is a crisis.
Well,
Absolutely.
there's some good tips there, and if people want to pursue it more deeply, they can make contact with you.
That'd be
Pam
great.
Neese, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
This is Kelowna Now. I'm Kent Mulgad.